All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to call to order the February 20th, 2025 Harahan Council meeting. Madam Clerk, pledge, please.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilman Asbill is absent. Councilman Buddy?
Present.
Councilman Chatelain?
Present.
Councilman Johnston?
Present.
Councilman Ricks?
Present.
Mayor Baudier?
Present.
Police Chief LaPree? Fire Chief St. Cyr is absent. Finance Director Todd Turnion?
Present.
Present. City Attorney Scott Stansberry? Myself, Carrie Hughes, clerk, is present. Mayor's announcements?
No mayor's announcements. Madam Clerk, move the special presentations.
Okay, the special presentation number 1, third annual Phil Fest 5K.
All right, Phil Fest, y'all want to come up?
Sorry, I'm just doing my presentation right now.
You want us to come right back to you? Okay. Madam Clerk, special presentations too.
Special presentation number 2, Adrian Jouet and Lisa McKenzie, Crawfish and Cornhole.
Whenever I talk about it, I say cornfish, so forgive me. It sounds disgusting. Thank you for having us. My name is Adrian Jouet. This is my friend Lisa, and we are here to talk about Unite. We have a special event that is the Crawfish and Cornhole Tournament. With Unite, I have a couple handouts that I'm going to share with you, and I'm actually going to let Lisa talk about it as she is the founder of the event.
Hi, thank you for having us. I wanted to let everybody know that I founded an organization in 2012 that addresses emotional and mental health after cancer diagnosis. We have over 700 women locally who have gone through our programs to get their strength and their mental strength back after a diagnosis so that they can go on and live their best lives. This cornhole tournament is a North Shore event, but the fundraising effort supports women on the North Shore and the South Shore. We have our annual gala at the Jefferson Performing Arts Center in October. This will be the kickoff event that helps us raise money, brings the community together, and then puts 50 women in our community through a master class of empowerment and trauma release so that they could go on and share their stories, and hopefully we could bring those numbers down in Louisiana for cancers on the rise, and especially the rare cancers. So we're this beautiful sisterhood, and we also have a side tournament that's taking place that day. We'd love to invite you. We have Mayor Clay Madden, Parish President Mike Cooper, Parish President Ryan Seal, DA Colin Sim, we have Frank Jabia, and Kim Carver, just to name a few, who are coming to toss for a cause. And we would love to have you be part of that Battle of the Brass. You'll come out in boxing robes because our theme this year is Fight Club. So you can become a member of the Fight Club to Rocky music and just have some fun and network. We would love to have you. Oh, and by the way, so Adrian was one of our class of 2024 participants, and this is this beautiful magazine that we put together. Like, is she beautiful? Did you want to say anything about your experience?
I just would like to see somebody from the council come, because I think that Harahan has a lot of pride, and I've seen us dominate in everything that we do. So it would be an honor to have any of you guys come and show up the North Shore. I mean, this is something that's near and dear. I know that Phil and I have battled cancer, and so I would just love to see you guys go over there and throw down with them. It's something that's near and dear to my heart, and I know when I went through my battle, a lot of you gentlemen stood up for me at that point. So if we can honor these 25 women from the South Shore that are about to go through this class, it would mean a lot. So we thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
If we can make it, what time would be a good time? It looks like a all-day event.
For you?
Yeah.
The Battle of the Brass is going to be at 4 o'clock. We'd ask for you to show up around 3, grab a cocktail if you want, some crawfish. We have a wellness fair that day and a huge family fun zone. There's a lot going on. It's under one roof at the Casting Center, so it's indoors. Weather's not a factor. But for you all, we would like you to show up around 3 so we could get you in your boxing robes. We'd want to know you're coming.
Yeah.
And so that we can announce you in great fanfare, bring you out as a two-person team. So you could bring somebody from your staff to throw with you. And we've got these really great $7 trophies that we ordered from China, so.
Yeah, it's like 12 to 4, so like there's a kid zone. It's kind of like mini putt-putt meets cornhole, if you will. So that ought to be like, right, a petting zoo, liquor. I mean, it can't get any better than that.
Did you get your trophies yet?
I did. Why, are you a trophy person?
No, they might get a tariff. I'll just check and make sure you had them.
Oh, yes. We got it before the tariff, so.
Did you say something about matching up somebody who's good with a councilman, so we'd have a chance? and
I would say
wouldn't look
yes.
too bad?
I would suggest
All right.
that. I would bring somebody who could, and just start like warming up the arm.
Mike Haas is going to be commentating, so that it will always be entertainment.
It's going to be very energetic.
So I will check with my son. If he's available, I'll be there.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Oh, yeah, that one might be an unfair advantage for Eric.
Oh, he bowls?
Yeah, he
23rd,
bowls. He's very good.
Okay, we would love that.
Yes.
So please reach out to me personally if you think you could come, and then I'll send you all the information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Let's go.
We good, Brian? Yeah, hold on. Okay. We're going back to special presentation 1 with the 3rd annual Phil Fest 5K.
Alrighty, guys, while we pull that up, my name is Jacob Degree. This is my father, Phil Degree. We're here talking about Phil Fest 5K, our 3rd annual event for Running for Dreams. We are a nonprofit that helps kids who have lost a parent to cancer. And so Phil Fest was our flagship event. We started it about 2.5 years ago now. Angela is our race director. She has helped us tremendously put this on, and thank you, and get with the right people into making it a big thing. And a lot of you all we've seen out at this event, and we really appreciate the support up until now. And so we just wanted to come here tonight to talk to y'all about what we're trying to do this year. As we are growing, this is our 3rd year. This is kind of for us make or break. We're trying to get a lot bigger than we have been, just as far as reaching people and helping more kids. But we wanted to talk a little bit first about last year's impact. So last year, we did really good for a 2nd year. We raised about $15,000. Most of that has been dispersed. We were able to give, since this last Phil Fest, we've given 3 more grants to different families. But in addition to helping these kids that we're giving grants to, we're also engaging the youth in Harahan. So as you can see, we've had 20% youth involvement. 20% of our registration are kids under the age of 18. Several of those, probably about half of that, are kids running in our 1 mile Kids K, and the rest of them are running the full 3 miles or 3.2 miles of the 5K. So these kids at a young age are getting out there, getting involved, giving back to their community, and I always feel like that's really important for people to see. As as y'all contribute and participate, y'all are spreading that awareness. So y'all have played a part in getting those kids out there. In addition to that, we also, our biggest goal in sponsorship outreach is getting local organizations. We have not done much outreach past Harahan. So all of our 20 plus local organizations, they're all Harahan organizations like Blue Flash, Winn-Dixie, who else did we have last year? Allstate, Robertson Family Agency. And so this year we're really focused on trying to get more partners and more people at the race. But to tell y'all a little bit about what this race does, these are some of our past beneficiaries. Our first one, Kira McGee, we gave her a 3-year college stipend. She lost her mother to cancer. Shortly after that, we were introduced to Nathan Hamrick, who first lost his mother to cancer and then lost his father shortly after to a heart attack. And we helped him fulfill his father's dying wish of taking his grandmother back to her home state of New York. Brenna Hawk Hendry, a Harahan resident, she goes to LA Spirit. She's been a cheerleader for a while. She lost in the same year her father to cancer, and then she lost a classmate, and she is only in 5th grade. And so, you know, we spoke to her mother, and she was going through a lot, but cheerleading is something that she wanted to stay in. And so we went to LA Spirit directly and paid for a year. Zachary and Lainey Donis recently lost their father, and Heather Donis, we were introduced to her by Angela. She is an avid runner as well as an avid Saints fan, and we were able to, through our contacts at the Saints organization, organize a VIP tour of the Saints facility, and later Lainey expressed interest in New York, specifically Broadway plays, and so we were able to fund a trip for that, and I believe Heather and Lainey ran a 5K while they were there. Colton Crochet we were just introduced to 2 weeks ago by one of our sponsors at D1 Training in Elmwood. His father died just a few months ago at the end of 2024. Both were athletic, and they were at D1 because they wanted to give Colton kind of an outlet while he is processing his grief, and that's when Lance at D1 introduced us. And so we just mailed a check 2 days ago to pay for a year-long membership for that as well for Colton, and he was very excited when you were over there with them. But that is what this organization is all about, is giving these kids a chance to be a kid again through this tremendous grief, through that process, so that they don't have to think about, you know, oh, my family can't do this right now. But right now, we're focusing this year on getting bigger, on reaching more kids, on just getting noticed a bit more by this community that has given so much to us. We still need help for Phil Fest for the 3rd year. So right now, we are still lacking in sponsorships. We've had a few of our sponsors, the really good ones, have come back for a 3rd year, and we're really grateful for them, but in order for us to grow, we really need a lot more Harahan businesses to jump on board. And we have sponsorship levels that are starting at a very low level, because we really just want people to kind of be a part of this and to come out to Phil Fest and represent. We really need some help with promotion. We're doing well on registration compared to last year, but we don't want to lose that trend. We want to keep growing and getting more people involved. And so we could really use the city's help in kind of promoting this event. We also can always use help finding kids to help. Our first year, we struggled a lot with actually getting in contact with those kids that, you know, would fit our mission and our objectives. Recently, we've been getting a little bit better at it as we introduce ourselves to more organizations, but we can always use more help finding those kids who need us, because we have money to give. We just, you know, we need the avenues to reach them. And as well as, it's called Phil Fest. So it's a 5K, but it's also a party. It's spelled with a PH because he likes to see his name on things, but it is a festival type aspect. And so if y'all know businesses that would be interested in coming out and being a part of the festival, we're looking for any kind of way to get creative with that, you know, fun jumps or obstacle courses, or really just businesses promoting themselves, just to kind of create that festival atmosphere after the race, because it's a short race, but we like to be there for a couple hours. And people really did like the festival aspect. You know, we have Phil's Grill Burgers there after, and you know, we just need more things to help create that atmosphere. But that is all for now. Did you hand them? So this is our sponsorship guide. If y'all have businesses, or you know business partners and colleagues that might be interested in this, Phil Fest is on April 5th. It's a Saturday in the evening. It's a sunset run. We did have to switch locations. So the last 2 years it's been at St. Rita. And unfortunately, when we reached out to them, they were fully booked for like March, April, and May, I believe. And so we amicably moved our location just a couple roads down to the old Colonial Country Club at 98 Fortier Lane. And we're really excited about the new location. We are sad to not be at St. Rita, but I think that it's gonna look great. It's gonna be great. We're working really hard on logistics to make sure everything runs smoothly still. But yeah, this is, you know, we'd love to see all out there, and we would love to have Harahan's help in making this kind of a tradition for the city of Harahan. All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
I do. Is it a run-walk race?
Yes, sir.
So there'll be
Yes,
walkers?
absolutely.
And what is the entry fee?
Right now, it is at $35. It raises to $40 on March 4th or 5th? 5th. And on race day, it will raise to $45. But the Kids K is locked in at 15.
What is that?
The Kids K, it's a 1 mile fun run for, I think,
kids.
12 and under. It's locked in at $15.
So I'm gonna come out there and support y'all, and I'm gonna cheer for everybody who's running. Because no one's gonna be chasing me, so I'm not gonna have to run.
Right.
But I'll be there.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
And we will also. And I know that we've sponsored you several times with the signage, and I think that last year we needed some fence banners or something.
I think so, yeah.
We had a lot, but yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to do that this year, so
Thank you. Thank you.
we're very
Let
welcome.
me say that Angela had sent out an email. When I got the email, y'all said 500-600 folks that's going to be coming out. Kind of shocked me because it's going to be back at Colonial. Colonial is a two-way street. It's very small. So we've met out there. They're going to have ample parking. We've got a plan. I think Angela sent that. It's in this packet. They are going to have additional volunteers helping guide traffic, but we're going to have extra units on Colonial to slow people down coming back there because it is a small area. But there should be, right now I think we have parking for maybe about 300 people back there. They're going to let us know closer it gets. If it looks like it's going to be bigger than that, we'll have to look at parking in other areas and maybe bus people over or something. I'm not sure how that's going to work yet, but I think we should have ample parking. Danny McCarron has been very generous to donate his facility back there to have this race. So it's a good thing, and we're all in for it, but I just wanted to make sure when I saw that email, we knew a little bit more what was going on, because I was like, where are we going to put 500-600 cars back there coming down Colonial? So I think we have a plan now. I think it should work, but it'll be a good event.
How many participants did y'all have last year?
320. So that 500 to 600 is more of a hope. But, and, you know, we are a little bit higher in registration this year than we were at this time last year, but we are keeping a very watchful eye on it. I'm probably on that registration page 3 times a day. So as it gets to that point, then I will definitely be in close contact with y'all to make sure all things are, you know, running smoothly.
Where is the registration page? What's the registration page site?
It should be somewhere.
Running for Dreams?
Yes. Runningfordreams.com. It might be on that page, but yeah, if you look up runningfordreams.com, there will be probably 2 different links that can get you to the same place.
There it
The
is.
QR code.
All right, got a QR code also.
Yeah.
The play.
The play. It's the play weekend. And look, this is my card if anyone has any questions. Does anyone else have any questions? Alrighty, thank y'all so much for y'all's time.
I want to win, like I won the past 2 years, me talking about in my own mind, but I finished.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Do a relay.
You can set that up.
Have a heart attack.
I mean, I threaten it every year.
I can walk a 5K, maybe.
Eric, you do it.
I'll watch y'all. Like, I'm a good cheerleader.
All right, you ready to move on? You just stand over there. Special presentation number 3, Steve Villavasa with the master plan update.
I don't have a presentation, so we can like that on if you want. Steve Villavasso, really glad to be here. See all my friends, council, some friends in the audience, and folks out there. I just have a short presentation to bring everybody up to date on the master plan update and to announce an event that we're planning. Just as a little bit of background, remember, the city of Harahan has a master plan. It's a master plan that the Planning Commission adopted in 2010. It was a good master plan. We spent a lot of time in this room and out in the neighborhoods putting that plan together. But things have changed in the last 15 years, and just like all master plans, it's time to update, this master plan and update it as to where Harahan is today and where Harahan wants to go in the future. As you know, the master plan is a legal requirement that the state says the Planning Commission shall make and adopt the master plan. So at some point, once we get a little bit further down the road, the Planning Commission will adopt this master plan, and then the master plan is sent to you, the council, to implement the plan. So it's sort of a partnership between the Planning Commission and the council and the citizens. The citizens make the plan and help us build it. The Planning Commission adopts it as a future vision and then turns it over to you as the elected officials of the city to make that plan come alive and then continue to work with the Planning Commission as you move forward. So I want to do two things tonight. I had a little handout here. One is the official announcement of the first of 3 community events we're going to have in 2025. We spent last year, or a few months of 2024, on background and data, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute, but I don't want to bury the lead. The lead tonight is to invite everyone to come to this first community kickoff meeting. It's going to be held on March 18th, Tuesday, at the Royland Center, 800 Randolph Avenue. You all know where it is, but I like to put on the record the address. And hopefully we'll have a good crowd there to kick off a community discussion about the future of Harahan. So we'll have some activities for people to engage in. We'll record everything. We'll report those results back to the Planning Commission probably in April. I'll come to a council meeting and keep you all informed all along the way. We'll have 2 more events like that. We'll have an event here in the council chambers for just maybe this part of town, although we're not big enough to really think about parts of town, but we want to have one here. And we'll have a third one at a Planning Commission meeting, probably middle of the year, something like that. So the goal is hopefully we can be ready to adopt a new master plan probably early fall. And I think we can make that without any problem, maybe a little earlier. So we hope we have a good turnout, March 18th, 6 p.m. at the Royland Center. Also, while I have the microphone, and everybody knows Steve likes a microphone, I want to give you a little peek as to what we were doing in looking at where we are today as a city. And one of the handouts I gave you is a little data sheet that we use as planners of census information. And this one little piece of paper with lots of tiny writing on it tells a really interesting story. Maybe it's good news, bad news, but one of the things that pops off the page right away is the population of Harahan is declining. Now, that's not necessarily bad. The whole state of Louisiana's population is declining, and what that means is we as a state and we as a city have to think of what that means. Why is the population declining? And as we drill down, we see a couple of interesting things have happened. Number one, main thing is the birth rate is down everywhere, including in Harahan. So we're not having as many babies, which means family size is lower, which means we're getting older. So if you look deep into this one piece of paper, you'll see the age breakdown of the citizens of Harahan is getting a little older as you look at the range. And there are less young people. So what does that mean about the future? We're going to talk about that when we have the meetings and the community meetings, and we'll boil that into a discussion of the whole city. The other thing that I think is interesting is median household income is significantly increased. So while maybe the population is changing, also the demographics of income and what we do and where we shop and what we want to do with that disposable income is changing too, which has a big impact on what does the city need to do to provide the facilities and the opportunities for those two things that are happening right before our very face. The other aspect of those two little statistics that pop off this page is, what does this mean for housing? I know there's a lot of older housing that we see in the city that is being converted. And when the older housing is converted, we were tracking this a little bit last year, it ends up to being a really nice house, an upgraded house, a house that goes onto the tax rolls and improves those neighborhoods. I know that's happened quite a bit in the Royland neighborhoods and in other neighborhoods around the city, and we're going to document that in the plan also. So this one piece of paper is just a little snapshot, sort of, you can look inside the sausage factory, a little bit of what planners do, and I just put that out there. I'd also want to just end by giving you a little overview. Not only are we going to look at the data and the history of where Harahan is, look at what the citizens of Harahan want as a vision for the future in the plan, but we're also going to look at what are the needs of Harahan. And this is a very important part of master plans as we go forward, to include not just a wish list of capital improvements, but capital improvements that you as a city are working with the parish or the legislature to embed that in the plan, to give those ideas, those projects, power to get funded. Because we have found, not only as a sensible aspect of this, but a legal aspect, that projects that are not included in your master plan don't get funded. And so it's important for us to have a robust capital improvement vision of what the city needs for the next 20 years, 10, 20 years. This is going to be a 2045 master plan. So we're looking forward 20 years. But as planners know, probably in 10 or 15 years, the plan will need to be updated again. So this aspect of capital improvements and what you need to keep Harahan modern and to provide the services that are important to your citizens, we're going to embed that in the plan. So those are the big three parts of the plan. Last but not least, we'll have a future land use plan to see if land use patterns have changed. And then we'll use that master plan to work with the Planning Commission and you to see if we need any updates in your zoning rules or your subdivision regulations. But I'm getting ahead of myself, but I want to make sure you all heard that tonight. Happy to answer any questions. I'll come back and see you guys at future meetings, and I'm really happy to be here.
Steve, just a quick comment. When Steve and I engaged in this conversation, over the past 6 years, the dynamic of Harahan had really started to change, to me, drastically fast.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
certainly for the better. And Steve and I had approached this, we just, talking one day, and I said, maybe it's time. Steve said, it's definitely time for a new master plan. The dynamic in the city is changing really, really quick. I love to call it the Renaissance of Harahan, because I truly think that's what we're going through right now. And as Steve mentioned, we're tearing down old housing stock and maybe 2 homes and building one way bigger home, which, creates a better tax base for property tax, but does deplete the number of residents that were occupying 2 homes versus 1 home. And I think that could be certainly a part of the number. But with Steve helping me put this plan together, is when we see growth in communities, they tend to outgrow their infrastructure. And that's ultimately what started this conversation. And you hear about it a lot on the North Shore, where they've outgrown their infrastructure at such a rate of speed that they're blowing their infrastructure out of the water. They're literally shutting down, just normal everyday facilities that are needed. And so between Steve, myself, and Danny McCarron, the owner of Colonial, who will be the largest land developer here to come in the near future, we're trying to get ahead of that process. We're trying to make sure that we have that infrastructure in place to be prepared for that growth spurt. Because even though we are taking down 2 houses and building one big one, that one big one usually has 7 more bathrooms and 2 more toilets and 6 more sinks than the other 2 combined. And so we need to make sure that we get ahead of that infrastructure. And as Steve alluded to, that when we go to the legislature, or even working with Senator Cassidy's office through appropriations and on a federal level, that's what we're going for right now. We're working real hard to get infrastructure dollars to be ahead of the growth that we're really seeing right now, because we want to make sure that we can offer the facility. We want to get ahead of it. We want to be, we don't want to be reactive. We certainly want to be proactive, and that's the mission, and that's the whole input from my side of how I see this plan. I just need the to Steve to help me get a little bit vision of where we go, of what's on top of the earth.
Great comments. Yeah, I like the word growth, and we, in a planning world, we like to say manage growth. You manage your growth. You determine how you want to grow and how you shape that growth. And I heard you say a magic word, and every cover of every master plan we do has to reflect the city we work in. Okay, this was the cover in 2010, and I got a feeling the word Renaissance might be on the cover of the next one. I heard that tonight, okay?
Thank you.
Question, the planning, you're meeting with the planning commission, is that our planning and zoning board?
Yeah, well, yeah, I short-term it and call it the planning commission,
Okay.
but the planning and zoning board is the planning
That's the
commission.
formal board that you're going to present to?
Yes, and they adopt the plan, but then they send the plan to you.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, special presentation number 4, FEMA Parks and Legislative Update.
Are you going to turn the light out?
Yeah, there you go. Better mood. Yeah, Brian Wallace, worked with the city of Harahan. I was asked by the council to give a presentation, an update on FEMA parks and our legislative update. First is FEMA. Just to give you a kind of broad scope of what we've done. We've got 27 claims. I'll try to be as quick as possible on this because it could be mind-numbing. They've signed off on 21 projects. Approximate estimate cost is about 10 plus million. CRC, which is Consolidated Resources Center with FEMA, has signed off on $5.7 million, or their estimate is. They've signed off on 4.8. Federal share is $4.6 million over the course of the last 3.5 years. Our share is $244,000. To give you an idea of the complexity of FEMA, we've gone through 3 project managers. I think we've had the same environmental and historical specialists. We've gone through 3 CRC teams. So they change up quite a bit, which adds to the delay and a lot of confusion. I thought this was interesting. FEMA acronyms, that's not the number of acronyms, that's the number of pages of acronyms, 454 pages of acronyms. Team Harahan has remained 4 people, and it's a great team. We've met approximately, according to my records, about 268 meetings. That doesn't include the phone calls and the thousands and thousands of emails back and forth.
Brian, if you could,
Yeah.
back up, please.
Yep.
Run through that CRC gross cost versus.
Yeah, so the CRC, the gross cost is the estimate that they came up with. The actual cost is the sign cost that they signed off with.
FEMA's cost.
FEMA, yes. And so the
10 million is the city's.
is the approximate total cost, and we'll get into it
Okay.
if you talk about the fire station coming up. But that's just kind of it's an approximate cost, but you see it's pretty detailed. It's not a $10 million round number.
FEMA's considering or approved the 5.7? And
They've approved 4.8
of the 5.7 million.
of the 5.87 million. And there are a couple of projects like the gym. There's a lot of equipment, like gym equipment, police equipment. There's a lot of $10,000, $100,000, $25,000 projects that are still out
The
there.
city's position is there's another 4.3 million to get FEMA to sign off on.
Yeah, we're hoping, yes.
Okay, and
Yeah.
there's more detail to follow, so I
Yes.
got ahead of you.
Yeah, you did a little
Thank
bit,
you.
but that's okay, that's
Thank you.
okay. To give you an idea, now the ball field, I also wanted to tell you, this is a fast-track reimbursement program. We filed the claim February 2022. There were 66 damage entries in the project. In other words, there was separations of the fence, bleachers, dugouts, lights, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it was pretty detailed. Everything was approved, went through the approval process. You see the different approval processes that I had to go through. We made our final claim in March of 2024, 2 years later. And that's because we had to wait and go through those processes. GOSEP received it, which is the state entity, in October, and 7 days later, we received the payment. Now, interestingly enough, we received our final Katrina payment August 14th, 2024, for $500. Believe me, some of those meetings that we've had to deal with are dealt with Hurricane Barry, just all these way back. We've had to dig in boxes back in the back looking for, try to justify they claim overpayments to the city of Harahan. It's really mind-numbing, and I don't want to dwell too much on it, but we're getting close. The big gorilla in the room is Fire Station 25. Again, we filed our initial claim February 2022. There are 227 separate components of the fire station. The assessment report done by Myers Engineering is 405 pages long. We filed 179 documents. We've done 68 reports on the fire station, and we're close. The mitigation report's been completed. The hazard mitigation plan is pending. The environmental and historical preservation, historical preservation, I assured them that nothing historical happened at the fire station. Everyone's heard about the 50-50 rule. Basically, kind of cliff notes, if the cost of repairing exceeds 50% to the total value of the fire station itself, they'll replace it. Now, their idea of their costs are based on not upgrading it, not to code, which seems ridiculous, but the actual just replacement of the cost. For several years, we were at 48, 49%, and we kept, battling them back and forth. We would use their program, input the square footage of the fire station, and come up with a much greater number, and they would argue that number. It's their program. But we've got it now finally. FEMA finally came to an agreement with us. We're at 58.72%. They're still kind of arguing with the number of toilets in the fire station, things like that, hinges on doors. Seriously. Myers' estimate to bring it up to code just to repair is $6.7 million. And then, Tom, your answer there is their 2023 estimate to replace it totally would be over $10 million. So that'll probably go up a little bit more. So see, Tom, their estimate is probably that $5 million to repair. So that number that you saw on the previous page would go up more.
So basically, how does FEMA justify their range of $1.8 million to $2.8 billion? How can we be $4 billion plus off from Meyer?
It changes on a weekly basis, and we've had discussions with the Attorney General about the insanity of all this. We're not the only ones. I know it doesn't matter because all I'm concerned about is Fire Station 25. I could get into a lot of detail right now, but I don't want to because we're in a place where I think we're pretty good. And I don't want to upset the apple cart too much. But it is mind-numbing, and it's very frustrating. And a lot of times, Carrie will tell you, she's in those meetings as well. It's tremendously frustrating. But we're getting somewhere. And I think the next step, they're actually talking about removing slabs and things that they ask about the fire tower, the training tower coming down and things like that. What's the process of doing that? So we've made some progress. I think our new project manager is relatively positive about trying to move it. I think he's probably catching a little bit of heat because we have Scalise's office, Cassidy's office, Kennedy's office, everybody's office. We've been bombarding them with phone calls. They made reference to a number of our inquiries to the Congressman Scalise. And like I said, Tim and I met with the Attorney General, Liz Morell, about some possibilities if we didn't get to this point. We're at this point now, so we're just kind of wait and see. Now, they might, next week, they might say, oh, we're back down to 49%. Seriously, I'm not going to get excited until we see something happen down there physically. But, that's just where we're at right now. Okay, so I'll jump to the fun part, I guess, the better part, parks, and you can't really read this, but we did a citizen survey a couple of years ago. The number one, the least positive, the most negative was the quality of our parks and recreation services. The bottom number, with citizens with children, it's worse. 28% of the folks with kids had a negative view of our parks and recreation services. Now, a lot of that might be skewed because the gym wasn't open, the fields were still filled with debris and things like that, and we've moved forward with that. So I imagine that this number will go up. But we've made a considerable effort to upgrade the main ball field, and I think everyone has seen it. I hope they have. To remind everybody, we'll talk about the big project, the Park of Heroes. This is what it used to look like. And you see, and this is kind of what it looks like right now. We're close to being complete. We have some minor details that are taking place. Landscaping is almost complete as well, and the grass is starting to grow in. And again, a little overview. It's dedicated to 16 kids from Harahan that have perished in various conflicts around the world, 7 of which have never returned, and the front 7 are those that never will return. They're either buried overseas or they're at the bottom of an ocean somewhere. So what you see when you pull up, I'll use Jules Haydel as an example. He's buried at the Henry Chappelle Cemetery in Belgium. So you'll see a little information about that up front. On the back is his story, what happened to him, and kind of different highlights. Jules Haydel, actually, Ernest Hemingway was the corresponding reporter in his unit, which is kind of an interesting little tidbit. The flags that you see up there are where they're buried or where their body rests today. And then Marianne Haydel was 6 months old when her dad died in Belgium, and she came out and visited her dad's memorial. That's her on the left. That's his granddaughter on the right. The great thing about it is she had never seen his marker in the Belgium cemetery until that day. So that really makes me happy and proud that we're doing something special. And I thought I would be an emotional basket case when she came out here, but she was so positive about the whole effort, made it a lot easier. And I found that with a lot of the relatives that have come out. There's a water wall, 16 feet tall. There's a lot of symbolism out here. 16 feet tall, representing the 16 kids. There are 9 columns representing the kids that were killed but were able to come home. And the dragon teeth you see up front are 7 dragon teeth, represent the kids that are never coming back. It was probably one of the most popular pictures during the winter storm. I got several of it frozen over. The pool people said, just leave it on. And we left it on, and it was pretty spectacular, but it was still running. They're the kids, both 10 in World War II total, 4 in Vietnam, 1 in Korea, 1 in Iraq. Anyway, it's a special place, and I think everyone's really happy with what's going on. A little bit different around the track, and again, I'll try to be quick. We have their stories on the front. On the back, what we did is kind of a historical overview of Camp Harahan and every different element that was going on during the war. Pretty important embarkation center. About 350,000 troops actually transferred out of there to overseas. Every mule and a lot of the horses that were shipped overseas came through Harahan. So it's just kind of interesting little tidbit. And there's one other aspect of it, the William Pseudo Peace Garden in the back that people see in the back. William Pseudo was a Japanese American that lived here. He was married to an American gal. He came to the United States in 1902, and he came to Harahan in 1931. I know that because Frank Mayo wrote a letter on his behalf. But right after Pearl Harbor, he was picked up by the DOJ, his whole family was, and taken over to Algiers for questioning. I've got the FBI report, and how I came about that is a long story in itself. But a long story short, they shipped him off. They sent him to an internment camp in Santa Fe. They let his family still move back to Oak Avenue. and Miss Louise actually played with William Pseudo's granddaughter. And she was, I'll give her credit, because she was the one that really started talking about this, and that really kind of triggered my mind about finding out what the real story was. Long story short, he died in Santa Fe. He never saw his family again. His oldest son, Niall, fought in the U.S. Army during World War II. So we wanted to do a little garden, a peace garden in his honor. That's his great-grandkids. They're second to the right, and then the River Ridge Garden Club donated a Japanese magnolia to the garden. Now, I just found out last night at the World War II Museum that this is probably the only memorial dedicated to Japanese internment east of the Mississippi, which is kind of mind-boggling, but I think it's another source of pride that we have. Again, these are relatives that came out. Everyone might be familiar with Ray Bocconi. He's nephew of Thomas Bocconi. That's Donald Dusang, whose son died in Iraq. We've got Jacob Nippert's niece, Clifford Rayburn. A lot of people know Clifford. I thought he would be my toughest customer, but he was really, really happy with what we did with his brother Thomas. And then the gal on the right is Salvador Rando's niece, who was 7 years old. Salvador was 17 years old when he died on Iwo Jima, and she was at her 7th birthday. That's when the Western Union Telegraph came to announce that he had died on Iwo Jima. He enlisted at 16. Got 50 Japanese magnolias out there. They're starting to bloom. I'm excited about that. We had the lead arborist for the Audubon Institute come out and really shape up those oak trees that were getting really matty. They look like bushes. Did a fantastic job. We've got landscaping, and actually the granddaughter of Jules Haydell is doing the landscaping for us, so winds of fate. Corporate sponsorships have been amazing. We've got state funding, $202,000 this past year. Corporate sponsors, we've got in-kind donations. We're still working with companies, a lot of companies that don't even have anything to do with Harahan. ADM, Archer Daniels Midland, Arco, DuPont. We're actually in discussions with Boeing and some other major corporations. It's just trying to get through their bureaucracy as well. What really excites me is the number of contributors that are on the right there. From all over the world, actually, have contributed information and details for the park, including the Ito Institute of Japanese Culture from the University of Southern California, American Battlefield Monuments Commission, and other governments. Here's some letters that they wrote, really kind of emphasize the effort that were made here. This is a new, just this week, we were informed that the Mons Memorial and the government of Belgium is going to loan us a 12-panel traveling exhibit on the Battle of the Bulge. I said, yes, we'd take it. Now I got to figure out where we're going to put it for the month of April. I looked at the library. It's probably a little bit too small. So we'll just have to keep thinking about that. But I think, again, it's another example of our efforts to really make this special and to draw people here. I mean, the bottom line is drawing people here. Long term, we obviously want to replace the playground equipment, which is in this year's capital outlay request. But long term, we want to be able to have a park that we can have real true, Harahan Christmas celebrations. We could have the LPO out there, gatherings. We could mimic what they do in DC with the Japanese Cherry Blossom Festival, and we could have our own Japanese Magnolia Festival. That might be long after I'm gone. But it's just things that we could get people out to the park on a consistent basis. And that's what really, it talks about social capital, the assets that we have, we need to really utilize them as much as we can. In this little bit right here, I work with the LEAP Institute at Colorado State University, and they have a basic program which we downloaded, just regional population, capacity of the park, and that's a very rough economic impact on the city, maybe more, maybe less, but just give you an idea of just on a minimal conservative projections, the impact that park could have on the city. We'll continue to work with the state tourism. Billy's been to visit. Very excited. We'll continue to work with the World War II Museum. They know what's going on. We don't have a formal partnership with them. We wanted to wait till we got near completion because we want them to be, in the back of our minds, we always wanted to do something World War II museum-like. We don't have their money, but, we try to do the best we possibly can. And then also the National Park Service, we've had a meeting with, and I'll discuss that here very shortly on that. Dedication, April 25th, 2025, 11 a.m. That's it. We've moved it back a little bit, talked with Scalise's office and Cassidy and Kennedy's office. That's their recess, their Easter recess. It'll be at the end of their recess. Scalise's team has been out to see it. They've got him penciled in, which is all we could ask for, which I'm pretty excited about if we could get him. We've got people from really all over the country coming in for this dedication. The old fire station, I'll be real quick about this. That's the old fire station as we remember it. And again, this is the new fire station. We got funding from Kirk Tabbitt way back in 2021. But we've upgraded it, we rent it out. Ashley's been renting it out already to bridal showers, receptions, things like that, both the park and the clubhouse itself. The clubhouse, kind of inspired by Joseph Bartholomew, doing the whole process, really interesting. Joseph Bartholomew owned that land, he bought it in 1947 from A.K. Roy, we've got the deed. He built a golf course back there. Joseph was an African-American golf architect. He built and designed Metairie Country Club, but he wasn't allowed to play on it. So he built his own little golf course out there. It's documented in the city minutes, city council minutes. It's handwritten. It's very, painstakingly, I've gone through it and found little notations about it. In 1954, he went to the council, of 1950, I'm sorry, went to the city council to develop that property back there into a residential property. And that's the plan that he presented to the city council. His signature's on the bottom. In 1954, he donated the land, which is Royland Park. And then in 1964, the city council approached him about building the city fire station there. And he wrote back saying, I donated the land, you could do whatever you want to do with it. Which I found very interesting, the historical context at the time. So yeah, we did meet with the National Park Services, and as crazy as this sounds, I presented 3 theses on why we were seeking national recognition. Park of Heroes, highlighting the sacrifice of rural small-town America in foreign conflicts, which is at a greater number than in metro areas. The pseudo-peace garden, as I found out last night, it's mostly centered on the West Coast, where most of the Japanese Americans lived and were sent to intern camps. So there's really been no focus on rural and small towns during World War II. And then the Bartholomew, just in general, really kind of the first most noted African-American golf course architect. The meeting was pretty fantastic. We met with the director of grants. I don't know if she's still there or not, but she gave us a whole list of grants that we could pursue, and these are some of them right now. We do need to obtain recognition. We do that through the state, and she kind of gave us the process, but she sees no reason that we can't pursue this in any form of fashion. And it's up to, $1 million, $2 million dollars, I'm sorry. A couple of projects that we're kind of hoping to implement this year. I don't know if it's going to happen, but the new entrance sign and wayfinding program. This again was funded by Kirk Tabbitt back in 2020. And just the process, 2 hurricanes and COVID kind of set us back a little bit, but they're really kind of a neat thing to kind of upgrade the look of the city. And if we have additional funding, I like to do the history trail because we do have a tremendous history here. I don't think we really give ourselves credit enough, but we're such a small town, but we've really a tremendous history. We're familiar with Tchoupitoulas Plantation, but the word Tchoupitoulas, I've got documented, it was probably first used somewhere out here by the Chauvier brothers. Southern University, I think a lot of people know that this was Southern University's first experimental farm, about 100 acres. Also, the LSU sugar experimentational station moved from Audubon out to here temporarily for about a year. The German migration, JT Harahan, Harahan Junction, Tropical Radio Telegraph, which is a great story. United Fruit Company used it as communication to their plantations in Honduras and Guatemala. That was here. Camp Harahan, we discussed. Hank Larcella, Mr. Everything, he was the Heisman Trophy runner-up, political leader. There's really, I don't know if there's anything about him in the city. And then our library was the first library in Jefferson Parish. Just some things I'd like to highlight. We'll continue to work with our Sister City program. We're working on these three right now. Again, it's more of a cultural thing that are like St. Rita, Harahan Elementary, Faith Lutheran, they could exchange with the kids, little video exchanges and things like that, just to learn about the other cultures. And we just think it's kind of a neat thing to pursue. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm almost done, too.
There you go.
There we go. All right, legislative update. Wastewater collection treatment. This is real boring stuff, but it's probably the most important stuff that we do. It's stuff that you don't see, but if we don't do it, the toilets won't flush. I think over the last 4 years, really 5 years, more has been done to really upgrade and strengthen our sewer system. It's been a long time, and it's needed. This first project, I called the Wilson Street project, but it's really twofold. Project number one is the wastewater treatment plant. We've got a slab for a new centrifugation system that we're installing. And what that does is it builds capacity in the sewer plant. And that just adds, obviously, it also could be an economic driver because we could take excess from Jefferson Parish. And we've done a tremendous job on lowering the capacity there. 5 years ago, we were exceeding capacity, and that's not good. Wilson Street line, now that'll be a massive project similar to what the first part of Wilson was. This will be Sonia to Hickory. The gravity, it's a gravity line. It's very deep. It's old. It's breaking down. You can see it when you drive down the streets. If there's a little dip, that's what that is. Well, we got some challenges there because we do have a river silt sandbar that's there. Estimated project, it's right now $3.7 million. And I hope we get this started this year. We've gotten the project number one, at least the plans approved. Project two, they're reviewing the plans that our engineers have said. But see, we submitted that. We got that money 2 years ago. So again, you're dealing with the state bureaucracy, which is almost as slow. Federal appropriations, this is what we submitted. Senate appropriations through Senator Cassie's office. Again, more sewer infrastructure. We're pursuing the $10 million to work on the drainage at Hickory and Camden. There's also the opportunity to enhance Serang Park to make that, because I know that's where our farmers market is. If we can make it more of a, kind of a train depot type of look, that would be fantastic. More sewer collection, infrastructure work, Halsey Drive drainage installation. Again, dating ourselves when that was installed, when that was developed, they really didn't, there's not enough drainage back there, so that's why they have flooding issues in the street. And then we also have the ditch closure as well. So we've got a lot of infrastructure, and that's $21 million. Now, if we get $100,000, I'll be excited. But we've started the process. It's taken us a couple of years to get them to say, hey, submit, 4 projects. And we had about 30 minutes to get the project submitted, so we did. Here's our state for this year. I always say every year we're going to do less, but it seems like we keep adding more and more. Memorial Park Phase 2, that's for the new playground equipment, which we desperately need. We've got the Royland Park Phase 2, which would be upgrade the playground equipment over there, take down the old fence, put the new fence up. Security cameras, we've got Halsey Drive drainage. We're going to ask everybody for that money to do the Halsey Drive drainage program. More sewer collection, and another fire truck replacement ask as well. And that's it. I'm sorry it took so long, but any questions, comments?
Is anybody still awake?
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Brian.
Brian, thank you. Appreciate what you went over. A lot of people here don't know what goes on here behind scenes. I think this explained a lot. Hopefully, people watch this on YouTube and see, and if they have questions, they can feel free to call any of the council members, City Hall, anything. If we could answer the questions, we will. Thank you.
Approval of minutes. Reading of the minutes of the council meeting on January 16th, 2025.
Motion to
I have a motion by Councilman Chatelain to dispense with the reading of the minutes. We'll open for public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll close for public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Buddy to dispense with the reading of the minutes for January 16th, 2025. All in favor?
Yay.
4 yeas, 1 absent. Madam Clerk?
Approval of the minutes of the council meeting on January 16th, 2025.
We have a motion by Councilman Chatelain to approve those minutes. We'll now open for public hearing. No one coming forward. We'll close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Ricks. All in favor to approve those minutes?
Yay.
4 yeas, 1 absence, Madam Clerk.
Okay, no communications, no resolutions, ordinances for approval, proposed ordinance number 2025-1. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Johnston and seconded by Councilman
I'll second.
Chatelain. An ordinance to rename the Harahan Senior Center as the Carlo R. Ferrera Senior Center.
If it's okay with the council, I'd like to do unanimous instead of me, just everybody be on board to be unanimous.
I
We
do-
only got 4 here, I mean, but
Yeah, I do have a question, though. It's been brought up from numerous people. I know you're asking to change it to the Harahan Senior Center, the Carlo R. Ferrera Senior Center. Are we just dedicating the building?
right.
So it'd still be considered the Harahan Senior Center, the building would just be dedicated as the Carlo Ferrera?
Just as City Hall is the Mayo building, the Harahan Senior Center will always be the Harahan Senior Center, just like this is the Harahan City Hall. The building's going to be dedicated to Carlo R. Ferrera Building.
Okay.
That's always be recognized the Harahan Senior Center. And that was a question from other people, the same thing they asked me.
Yeah, that was the-
That will always, it's in Harahan, it's the Senior Center. This is City Hall, it's the City Hall, but it's named the Mayo Building. That would be the Carlo R. Ferrera Building, if we're going to put the name on the building.
Yeah.
That's what the mayor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll come back next week, next month or whatever, we'll put some money
Well,
aside.
we're
for
going to do a
capital.
dedication, the mayor, we're going to set a date to do the dedication on a Friday afternoon where people can come. I know the family, I know Anne Marie's here, Carlos' daughter. She came, she wanted to come today. She came to do the ordinance. She wanted to be here. And she's going to try and get the family to come. She will have the family here on the dedication day. I'm going to tell his family, his nephews and his sister, to get them to the dedication for the day we're going to do it. We're doing the afternoon. It's okay with you, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
One afternoon, we do it over at the senior center.
I love it.
But I'd appreciate, I'd like to do it, it's okay with the council, I'd like to do a unanimous, and not Paul was second. That's okay, everybody here.
Unanimous.
Okay.
Can you do it unanimous with 1 absent?
One absent, can you do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the 4 present?
Yeah.
All right. Anyone want to come speak? Are you good? You sure? I've never seen you be quiet before. Okay, all in favor?
Wait,
Yeah.
wait, one. Anybody looks at making, you always say, any council like to say anything? Anybody want to say
Council
anything?
discussion, all good?
Anybody want to discuss? I'd
Yeah,
like to-
guys, I'll let y'all know. I mean, Mr. Carlo is dear to my heart. I mean, I've been, probably since I was 5, 6 years old, I looked up to that man. I think he was a great leadership through the city all these years. I mean, I know some people didn't like things he did, other people loved things he did. But all in all, that man's heart was in the right spot for the
Right.
city of Harahan. And he was a great guy, in my opinion. I believe most people will agree with that.
Right.
And it's a true honor to do this, to be on this board and change the name of that building to honor this man and his family. His family's still here, and it's just, I mean, it's touching to me. Like I said, I mean, I remember this guy from the Harahan Railroad fairs to parades. I mean, it was just, it's hard to say today. I drive the streets and I say, oh, Carlo was here. That wouldn't happen. He would have caught that a long time ago. I mean, we go to dig up stuff and we're like, oh, where's that? Oh, never mind. Carlo's not here. He can't tell us. you know. And I will say, I mean, we still have Edwin Larcella. He's been here a long time in maintenance and all. We still call him and we find stuff, and he'll come out and say, oh, it's right here. And no one else knows where that stuff is. And Mr. Carlo is truly missed every day around this city. And if he was here, I know he'd still be there and say, yeah, guys, I can tell you where that's at. I mean, I remember he can't see, and he's sitting out there trying to tell us where something's at. And I'm like, oh, for real, guys? This is what we're listening to. But okay, let's try. Sure enough, it was right where he said it was at.
Couldn't find him out wrong. I mean, for me, he just helped me be a smarter mayor. You know, he helped me be more efficient. He helped the citizens save money, so we didn't have to do things 7 times, and I had to go into discovery. And I mean, my most favorite, well, I've seen Carlo correct engineers on plans and be right. And but my most favorite discovery is the quicksand stories. And he used to, we got quicksand. I know we got quicksand here. And come to find out, you know, even though I didn't believe him, not all. Well, first when we ripped up Wilson Street, guess what we came across? A river silt sandbar, and we could not get it to hold. We had to put, I think that project ended at, we had to add about another $500,000 into that project because everything we did had to have screw piles put underneath it to hold all of the culverts in place because we were running right along that river silt sandbar. And man, he was right, and he oversaw that project. It was probably his last project that he worked on here, and it was a savage. And he saw it through every day, and every day he would go out and watch it. And you know, he believed in what he believed, and he believed someone should always be on the scene, inspecting and just making sure people were doing the right thing. And that's what he did every day. Him and his can of spray paint, because that dude loves spray painting some things. I ain't gonna lie, he would spray paint a big circle on the ground, and it was fun. But I will miss him a lot. He certainly made me a smarter mayor. He certainly helped the city. He loved it. He loved this city. I think he loved the city, no offense, more than anything in his life.
Well, I met Carlo, it was around 1995, and I came to know him as a very good person, kind man, and he was dedicated to this city more than anyone else I know. And he was a wealth of information, a walking encyclopedia, and he is missed.
He definitely is missed. He's the one that got me involved in politics in 1992, and he was very, he knew a lot, like Eric said. He was very active. He was the mayor for 14 years. He served on the council for 12 years, and then Vinnie Mosca was elected mayor. He served on the council with me in the mid-90s as Vinnie was mayor, and after he didn't serve on the council anymore, he worked for Vinnie Mosca like he worked for Tim. He worked for me as mayor. He was very active. I mean, he was a book of knowledge. I mean, he knew where everything was at. He knew where all the sewer lines was at. He knew where everything, anything come down, we knew where, he called, where's it at? Boop, he would tell us where it was at. He just knew what was going on in the city. He loved the city. He knew everything what was going on in the city. You would go to Carlo and you knew you were getting everything, and he knew what was going on. Carlo Ferrera was responsible for that senior center being built over there on Elodie Street. The senior center used to be over there on Bailey Street behind the old Popeyes. It was in the VFW hall. And Carlo got, back in early 80s, he got Mr. Hank Lorcell, who was senator, and he got Eddie Doucette, who was a state rep. And he got the Marrero family to donate the land over there. They all got together, but the Marrero family told them, you can't cut down those oak trees. They had to maintain those oak trees. Now, those oak trees are in bad shape. They got a lot of termite damage. But the city has maintained them. We've cut branches off. We've cut things off to try and maintain the oak trees. And also, we also have to have that, we have to use that facility for seniors. That was one of the agreements in the documents we signed. I have the documents at my house, because I got a copy of it, that we have to use for seniors. But Carlo Ferrera was the one who put that together. So he was very knowledgeable. He knew what was going on. So my thoughts, we could name anything in the city of Harahan after Carlo Ferrera. So he had so much to do. He was the one, I think, he was the one that started the railroad fair, if I remember correctly. Eric, I mean, you were here before me. I mean, he was the one that started the railroad fair. He had so much involvement in the city. So you can name anything. He was the one, he had the bowling alley. I mean, who doesn't remember the bowling alley? I mean, everybody.
The gas station.
He has the gas station. He has a red wagon. He owns it. He didn't have it, I mean, but he owns the red wagon prop. I mean, Carlo Ferrera had so much involvement in the city, so I could ask people to name anything in the city after Carlo because he was so involved in the community. But I felt that the senior center was his baby. It was his pet peeve. It was what he was responsible for. He got that thing up and running for the seniors. And I said, Carl, why don't you go to senior center? I don't want to go with those old people. You know, Carl, he was kids, you know, he was mean, you know. Carl was 95 years old when he passed. He lived a beautiful life. He lived a beautiful life. He was a great man. He loved people. He was very giving. One thing about that man, he was very giving. He cared about people. He helped people. And I know people in this room knew him well. And that man over there sitting right there knew him well. And he was a good man. And I appreciate this council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you ready? All right, all in favor?
Yeah.
4 yeas, 1 absence, Madam Clerk. Ordinance is approved. Ordinance number 2025-1 is approved.
Beautiful. No ordinances for introduction. Old business, Planning and Zoning Board appointment, Krista Exterstein. Now, I know Jason reached out to her, but I don't know the context of the conversation.
I'll make a motion to defer until Jason's back.
Second.
We have a motion to defer, second by Councilman Buddy. We'll open for public hearing on the deferral. No one coming forth will close. All in favor?
Yay.
4 yeas, 1 absence, Madam Clerk. Motion to defer is
Can I ask a
passed.
question? Since we got Steve Levasseur here. Steve, can an elected official on the council serve on that board?
No, no way. No way.
I knew that answer, but I just wanted to ask that question. I knew that.
We would have volunteered before long ago if we could have, Paul.
I knew that question.
All
I knew
right.
the answer. Come to the meeting? Well, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Hey, you can resign?
Well, they got 2 years left. They will-
Madam Clerk, new business number 1?
New business number 1, Todd Turnion, Finance Director with monthly financials.
I didn't say I wanted you to resign. I
I
said
know
you
you
could
did.
resign.
I know you did.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Brief update from the finance team. We're actively working on closing out the books at December 31st in preparation for the city's annual financial statement audit. The auditors are scheduled for the first week in April. So we've uploaded some initial items to them. They've done some initial testing. They've done some planning work. And we've got the next few weeks to get everything ready for their work throughout April and May. For the current year, for 2025, the sales tax collections are pretty much on par with what we had budgeted. So there's no significant increases on the sales tax side and none that's over the first 2 months that are less than what we had budgeted. So that's a good thing. And we continue to work closely with Kerry and the rest of the finance team to pull the audit information together. Happy to answer any questions that the council members may have this evening.
What is your hope for date for having the audit completed?
So it's due June 30th to Baton Rouge, to the Legislative Auditor's Office. The last few years, we've been in good shape in terms of not being at the June 30 deadline. So the last few years, it was June 15th, June 20th, and really, that was more putting a bow on it. You know, maybe it was early June, we were in good shape. So hopefully we can meet that and maybe do a little better this year, to where we can have a good draft in May and kind of really just put the bow June 5th, you know, something to that effect. So that's our goal for this year.
Good, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, new business number 2, approval of the 2025 PhilFest 5K on April 5th, 2025.
Okay, we've had discussion on PhilFest, so we'll open for public hearing. Technically, we'll close public hearing. Council discussion on PhilFest.
I think we all under the same impression that we really don't need approval for y'all to do this festival, as long as y'all coordinate with the police department and have the details set up. And I know y'all gonna have to try to coordinate that kind of last minute to see how many people you think you're gonna have. But of course, as y'all know, the city of Harahan's here to help y'all. Y'all just give us heads up. We're gonna try to get you some barricades, whatever we gotta do to get out there to make this thing as successful as can be. You successful, we successful.
Can we approve it anyway? Would you mind?
Yeah, we can approve it.
All right, all in favor?
Yeah.
Yay.
4 yeas, 1 absence. I just want to make it official.
New business number 3, the St. Rita Dads Club members respectfully request permission to sell beer and wine at the annual St. Rita Dads Club Car Show and Cook-Off. The event will be held on Saturday, April 12th, 2025, from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. in the St. Rita Schoolyard. All proceeds from the event will be used for charitable purposes benefiting St. Rita Parish. We will coordinate any traffic and security needs with the Harahan Police Department. We look forward to hosting a safe and enjoyable community event in the city of Harahan.
Okay, we'll open for public hearing, which I know no one's here from the Dad's Club. We'll close public hearing, but I'll let Councilman Chatterling elaborate for us.
This is just their annual car show. I think they started it back up a couple years ago. Used to be the Knights of Columbus would put it on, and I think them guys just kind of stepped back and let the Dad's Club take it over. They had a young group of guys, very energetic. I think it was a huge success last year. I just want to talk to the mayor and see about limiting to like 2 cases of beer.
Yeah, really? Yeah, I was gonna limit them like a 6-pack.
Was that for the first 15 minutes?
Or make them buy the beer directly from the city. We're gonna charge Superdome prices.
So yeah, same thing with them. I mean, they have it in here as long as they coordinate with the police department, coordinate detailed officers, as long as the chief approves of it, I don't have a problem.
Okay, all in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
4 yeas, 1 absence, Madam Clerk.
Address the council.
All right, if anyone would like to address the council, please come up, state your name and address, phone number, social security, driver's license number at the podium. All right, no one coming forth. We'll now close. Address the council. Madam Clerk.
Secretary's report. Secretary's report for January 2025. Total revenues, $1,733,031.91. Reports.
Chief.
I'll make it close. Make it quick. Last month, we had 565 calls for service in the city of Harahan. We had 8 traffic accidents. There was 82 citations issued for violations, various violations. We had 14 patrol requests that included residents being checked on a total of 115 times. Folks were out of town. If you're going to be out of town on vacation or something, let us know. We'll put a patrol request on your property, and we'll make sure the units go by a couple of times during the shift to check on your property, so you won't have to worry about that while you're on your vacation or out of town. We had 887 business checks through the month. Traffic enforcements, we had 160. Medical calls, we had 71. Security alarms that went off, burglar alarms at residents were 37. We had 3 stolen license plates and 10 vehicle alerts that were hit on our flock cameras that we have installed around the city. We were able to make the arrest on 3 of those cases. The flock cameras hit the vehicle coming into the city. The officers responded to the area. We were able to locate the 3 vehicles with stolen license plates on them and recovered those vehicles. We had 30 arrests. We had a total of 49 charges, 8 felony arrests, 25 misdemeanors, 16 city arrests on city charges. On those charges, 23 were fugitive. We had 4 traffic, 7 narcotic, and 15 other. There is a little concern. We've had a couple of traffic stops made in the last month, and we've found crystal meth on these traffic stops, and one had a stolen weapon with it. So the police department is being very aggressive on our traffic enforcement. Everything starts with traffic. If you come to the city of Harahan, we encourage you to come, but if you come breaking the law, you will go to jail. We had 8 assaults, we had 3 thefts, and we had 1 authorized use of a motor vehicle that was recovered. But other than that, I want to go back to the winter storm we had a couple last month with the snow and all. I want to make sure the city maintenance department was recognized.
Oh, yeah.
They did a fantastic job working with the police department. Councilman Eric was with me pretty much the whole time. They did a fantastic, I just want to make sure the maintenance people are recognized. They did one heck of a job getting our streets cleared. We want to thank Ladner's Pool. We called them, drop of a hat, to try to get some salt. We couldn't even get into the building because of the ice. They got us some salt. We got donations. Wood Resources brought out one of their big tractors. We really appreciate their bush hog that cleared the streets. I think Harahan was probably one of the first areas in the whole parish that had open, clear streets. And I just want to make sure they're recognized. The fire department did a great job. We did have a couple of fires. They responded in cold and icy conditions, but overall, the city, the fire department, police department, maintenance, Eric, everybody did a great job. I just want to make sure everybody got recognized for that hard work that they put in. Those were some long hours. Most of the vehicles all did well except one. Mine got stuck. But like I say, we got it out. But I want to thank Eric, too. Eric and Meredith, they stepped up and cooked dinner one night for the police department and maintenance. I want to thank my wife. She ended up making a big pot of spaghetti and meatballs for everybody to eat. And the bowling alley Chuck, you know, he came in, opened up, and made lunch and dinner for everybody. So it was a great city effort. We appreciate everybody working together, but I'm proud of the police department. I'm proud of this council and the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief, could you explain something for me? We've got 82 citations, but 160 traffic enforcements. I probably don't understand the distinction.
With traffic enforcement, I put a policy in place that for four 20-minute increments during their 12-hour shifts, they have to be assigned to a certain part of the city, and they have to do traffic enforcement. Sit there, be visually seen, do traffic stops, check the stop signs, speed zones, turning violations. So they're assigned to certain areas, and during the month, with all of the different officers on the job, they're all required 4 times a shift for 20 minutes to sit in certain areas that we get complaints on for traffic stop signs, speeding in different areas.
But it's not necessarily, that's not necessarily stopping a vehicle.
Correct, right. They're physically, visually being seen to try to detour
Thank
and
you.
slow people down.
On the same note, they could stop someone and not write a citation.
Correct.
Right.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Councilman Bodie?
No comments. No.
Councilman Chatterley?
Guys, as the chief was saying, you know, through the winter storm, I mean, we have so many people we could thank. We have so many citizens who step up. Roussel Outdoors, first thing in the morning, they out there cleaning the streets, you know, cleaning the highways. And when we have citizens, Robbie Diego, he volunteered his time and he came with his tractor and he spread the salt on all the streets of Harahan. So basically, the first streets we cleaned in Harahan were going to be Jefferson Highway, Hickory, Colonial, Harris, Resort, and Fultz. So that's the streets basically so the fire department and emergency personnel could get to where they need to get first. I mean, we had the comments, why'd y'all clean that street, not our street? You know, nobody's driving down Fort J. I mean, it's a small street, and there's not many people driving down it. We cleaned the streets where our fire department, our police, and first responders could make their major effects. As the chief said, we had 2 fires basically at the same time. So we had 1 fire on Crislaw. So the fire department's responded to a fire on Crislaw. And as they respond to that fire, I'm going to tell you, I'm going down Woodward and I see a house on fire. And I'm like, man, they just had a call came out for a fire on Crislaw. I said, they're on the wrong street. So, of course, I'm listening. They're responding to a fire. They fighting a fire. So, of course, we called 911. We beat on the door. We get the guy out. He's got 2 dogs in there, which I'm not the dog guy because he was growling like he's going to bite me. So the guy had to get his own dog. But the fire department, they responded to that. 3rd District and Jefferson Parish came and assisted on us. I don't know if y'all were out in the snow, but them big trucks on the icy roads, that's not an easy task. You know, as the chief was stating, you know, his truck was getting stuck. I didn't realize 90% of these police cars we have out here, they 4-wheel drive. His car's not 4-wheel drive. Every time we turn around, everybody leaves. Where's Chief? Oh, he's still back there stuck, guys. Go get Chief. You know, I'm like, Chief, you need to go get a different car. He didn't take a different car because he wanted his patrolmen to have the cars where they needed the cars to get where they needed to get. I mean, he was stuck in his driveway, but I will say our citizens stepped up, did what they were supposed to do. And just like we said, when we cleaned the streets for safety personnel. We asked the citizens to stay off the street. Most of them stayed off the streets. Guys, everybody wanted to go to the levee and slide down the levee. I went for a little while, I'm not gonna lie, and that's great, we wanted to see that, but we want everybody to be safe. He did a great job, fire department did a great job. Everybody up here, if we made a phone call, they were there to help. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'll be the first one to tell you. Councilman Johnson, Councilman Buddy, they're not going out there to shovel snow on the front of City Hall. But they did their part, whatever we call them for, they're there to help us, you know. and they did their part. But everybody did their job. As he said, maintenance did an amazing job. Parish president, she called us twice a day, we talked. She called us, they had the streets come, they took care of Jefferson Highway, basically to get from Williams Boulevard to Oshner Hospital. So they took Jefferson Highway from the city line, from Williams Boulevard all the way to Orleans line. They cleaned Central, they basically cleaned the main thoroughfares for first responders and safety reasons. So I just want to thank everybody for doing what they doing what they did. Thank y'all.
Councilman Johnson?
I would like to thank all the employees, chief, the fire department, the police department, all the employees, Eric, you guys. You know, y'all did a good job. Y'all got everything up and running, kept the city going. You know, I did my time. I served my time in my younger days. I was out there when Hurricane Katrina hit and all these hurricanes, the flood of May 95, when the city flooded on May 8th of 95. We were out there, you know, cooking jambalaya for the people on Generis when they couldn't, when they had 4 foot of water. You know, we served our time out there doing what we had to do. I'm 76 years old. I can't do what these young men can do now. I know, but we appreciate it. And I'm one of the old seniors that appreciate what you guys did. The maintenance people got out there and worked. I know Gary and them were out there cleaning the streets and working hard, and we all appreciate it. And any citizens that I don't know helped, I like to thank them too for helping. And it was really good. I mean, I know you out there. You're a young whippersnapper too. You know, you can do that. You know, you're 54 years old. You know,
I was actually in D.C. trying to secure.
Oh, you wasn't here? Oh, well, man, I'm forgetting.
I was in D.C. trying to secure.
Well, you were trying to get
$22
money
million.
for us, man. We can get us a snowplow with that money you get, you know?
Everybody did their part.
Yeah, I was-
Oh, the chief, we got to watch. The chief does want a snowplow,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
We're trying to cut it back.
Yeah, I got
Bo
that.
didn't want the street sweep, but
No,
chief
but
wants a snowplow.
I just want to thank everybody that did their part. I know it was a, I've never seen that in my life. I mean, I've seen snow. I saw it in 1963. I went to the Sugar Bowl when Alabama played Tennessee, I think it was, when Joe Namath played at Tulane Stadium. And I can remember the snow was stacked on the side of the field. You remember that year, don't you?
I do.
I was at the game, and the snow was real high on the side. I was sitting there, there was ice. And that's the last time I saw snow like that. That was the biggest snowstorm I saw in my life. And that was a heck of a snow.
People ask me, oh, what are we going to do? I said, I'm from Harahan. I don't know what we're going to
gonna
do.
melt.
We're going to try.
But I just want to thank y'all.
Thank you.
Chief, thank you. The maintenance, Gary. I think I already called Gary, but thank everybody.
Councilman Riggs?
Same. I mean, everybody, I thought, did a fantastic job. You know, nobody got hurt, thankfully. Even through the fires, nobody got hurt. Everybody was right on point, doing their job as best as they could possibly do, and that's all you can thank is the Lord for keeping everybody safe through that. But I feel the same way. I mean, you know, somebody said, well, how much snow did y'all get down there? I said, well, according to my thing, in the yard's 12 inches.
Yeah, we got about 12.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, I was very impressed. I was very impressed.
And I will say, guys, the 2 fires we had, one of them was storm-related from temporary heating for a chicken coop. The other one was not. The other one was not ice storm-related.
Yeah.
One night I called Eric Chatelain, it's like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm like, Eric, what you doing? He said, I don't know why you calling me. I said, don't you have that chainsaw? I said, we got a tree right down across the Carolyn Avenue. I need you to meet me out here. And it's lightning, y'all. We are out in a lightning and rainstorm. They had this tree come across Carolyn Avenue, and we got out there and cut this tree up. And I mean, we had it out of the way before anybody got hurt. And my biggest fear is that people would leave to go to work the next morning, you know, and tear their stuff or get somebody hurt on that tree. And I got to tell you, I mean, that's why this is one of my best friends in the world. He stood at my wedding. I'm so proud to have him sit on the side of me while I sit on this council. And when you in the trenches, I know my city was in good shape when I was in D.C. trying to get money to help us move on and do better things. And Mayor Pro Tem was here taking care of it for me. And so I'm very proud of that. I'm very appreciative of that. Personally, my maintenance department works directly with me hand in hand on a daily basis, and not to, you know, to diminish any other's effort. I was very, very proud. I was literally getting calls about how well my maintenance department handled it all the way in DC, and it made me really proud to know that they had my back and they had the city's back, and it was wonderful to hear. And so I really appreciate all of that, and my guys know I love them anyway. And I just wanted to say, you know, I wanted to finish on saying happy birthday to Jefferson Parish. You know, it's their 200-year celebration, and I want to make sure we recognize the parish because they do so much for us. Councilman Bonanno and all the other councilmen are quite there for us quite a bit, especially Parish President Cynthia Lee. I mean, she stays in touch with us on a daily basis, whether, you know, things are happening or not. She is just an incredible parish president, and I'm very fortunate to be able to work with her being mayor. They have a lot of festivities coming up. You know, Mardi Gras starts tomorrow. Cleo will ride tomorrow, and then Parish has all its parades going down, you know, Veterans Highway, and they'll have Family Gras there, which is brings in quite a crowd. It's pretty incredible. And so whenever you get a chance, you know, I always thank our councilmen, our state reps, our state senators. If you ever get a chance in front of our federal delegation, you know, we have some incredible guys. Cassidy, Kennedy, and Scalise are very good to us. Councilman Troy Carter, always, you know, willing to help. And we're just fortunate, and I'm lucky to be the mayor at this moment in time. I'm lucky to see the city grow like it has grown. I'm lucky to be able to have the relationships that I have to be able to get out and get funding to do the repairs and the innovations and dreams that we love and want and for just even our basic facilities. But I want to make sure that tonight we thank the parish for everything that they've done. And, you know, and happy birthday, Jefferson Parish, 200 years old. We're excited to be a part of Jefferson Parish. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, pay bills. Bills paid in January 2025, total expenditures, $1,433,584.09. No executive session, adjourn.
I have a motion by Councilman Chatelain, second by Councilman Johnson to adjourn. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
We are adjourned.